Hello Makeup Void, I'm Trin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm calling myself out on my BS. Today we are talking about technically 17 with an honorable mention of all the palettes I did not use in 2024. This is absurd and I have excuses and it's fine. We're going to talk about them all today and I honestly think I'm missing one. Am I missing one? Yeah, I'm missing one, so we're back up. Let me just grab it. We have one honorable mention because I only used it because I was figuring out all the palettes I didn't use this year, and it was like, oh, I haven't used this one, let's use it. So we'll start off with that one. Give this video a like, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Starting off with the honorable mention and the palettes on my eyes today. Technically I also used this palette yesterday, but it was so minimal that you couldn't even tell, and that is the Essence Dream Big Little One. Yeah, Dream Big Little One, the Lion King palette that came out last year. I bought so much from this collection. I bought it simply for merch, and so this is what I used on my eyes today. So I used a black base, which I kind of regret. I went into the shade Carefree Days, this beautiful blue right here, whatever, and then I went into this shade which is called Delicate Balance. I went into wow, this is kind of looking like a duochrome. This shade called My Reflection. It kind of looks like a duochrome. Does it? Does it not? It looked green to me, so I used it on the lower lash line. I then went into the shade Buzz from the Bees, which makes zero sense from the movies. I did that as an inner corner, then I realized I hated it, so I topped it off with a highlighter instead. So, honorable mention, I only used this palette because I was doing this ranking, and not a ranking, I was compiling all these palettes, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to use that one out of all the palettes I decided to use, or the palettes I didn't use this year, I decided to use that one, and I am underwhelmed. Okay, let's start off, let's move on to some baby palettes. I have a separate basket in my makeup storage of the palettes that are like really small that I don't want to get lost in my collection, and then I don't ever open that drawer, so they get lost anyways. Let's start off with the e.l.f. Interstellar palette. Beautiful, beautiful palette. I have zero excuses for not using this palette this year. I am going to keep out all of these palettes in the hopes that I at least use a few of them by the end of the year. So that's kind of like, this is sort of shopping my stash style. It's like, oh, I haven't used these palettes, let's go ahead and use them. So I don't, maybe I'll get around to Interstellar. This side of the palette is always the one that gravitates me towards the most, so we might just do a look with these and then use the black because the black's in here. Next I have the Kaleidos quad in the shade Flowing Haze. I did do a declutter in like June of a lot of palettes, so I had both of these and then I only kept this one. It's a cute neutral palette. The mattes are phenomenal. They're very pigmented. It's just the shimmer is really underwhelming, so I think if I use this palette again, I'm going to skip using that shimmer and only focus on the mattes, which for me is weird. Next we have the Viseart Petite Pro in Petite Pro 30. This was a gift from an old coworker of mine. That's the only reason why I keep it around. It's my only Viseart palette, and again, I don't use it because it gets lost, and the formula is fine. I bet that Viseart has done better. I know this is an older palette. I have the green, so I can do a work appropriate look. I don't really care for the purples. I'm not a purple person. I just realized, and of course you have some neutral browns. There's nothing wrong with this palette. It just doesn't stand out for me, and I actually think I'm going to put this one away because I really don't feel like using it. A palette that I'm very surprised by because I used this asymmetric fluff ton in previous years, and that is the ColourPop Tender Loving Cancer Quad. Now you cannot tell, but I used this dark brown shade as my eyebrow color for months and months and months, and you can still see the cancer embossing in it, and I have no idea how because I use this as a brow pencil, basically a brow product, for so long, and whenever I use eyeshadows as brows products, I like always hit pan. I did not hit pan in this quad. The shimmers are fine. I don't really get use out of this little boy right here, but I'm really sentimental towards this palette, so I am going to keep it for the rest of eternity. It's sad that I didn't get use out of this year because I used to use it so incredibly much. Next we have the Teresa is Lethal Teresa is Lethal palette. So this, I also have the original one in this stack, shadows got a little broken. Let me just blow it away. So this is the second collab Teresa did with Lethal. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette. There's nothing wrong with any of these palettes. I just sort of forgot that you existed. I definitely want to use this silver probably on Christmas. I feel like this is what I'm going to do on Christmas. So I'm probably going to use this palette. I could do like a silver green something with this palette. I can do something with this. So I'm going to leave it out. Like, I'm going to leave out everything and try to get one use out of this palette this year. A palette that I have no interest in using the rest of this year is the Tartelette Juicy palette. This was the palette I bought for my birthday one year, and I have no idea why I did that. The Tarte's mattes are phenomenal. Their mattes are out of this whole world. The shimmers are absolutely trash. They're so underwhelming. Ugh. And you have these beautiful pinks up here, and I'm like, yes, Tarte, give me color, give me pink. They're so incredibly underwhelming, so I don't really care if I don't use this palette this year. This is a palette I would probably never declutter because I bought it for my birthday one year, and so it's sentimental for me towards that. But it's not the best palette. Give Me Glow Juicy Olive. Another palette I use in Magic Fluff Ton in years past. I tried hitting pan in this shadow right here. I don't know if you can see the dent. You can kind of see the dent right here. I tried so hard hitting pan in this shadow that I just gave up. I just flat out gave up. But this is a beautiful palette. I know Give Me Glow redid this palette recently. I have no intention of repurchasing the newer one because I don't use this one, and I can see myself decluttering this eventually. Great palette, great formula. I have zero excuses. It's just all of, like, when I think of greens for work, I'm thinking like bright neon greens. I'm thinking forest green, lime greens. I'm not thinking olive greens. Maybe I get a little more use out of this. Perfect palette for the season is the BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin palette. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if this video palette is ever going to see the light of day. I think so, but I did a video of all the winter palettes in my collection. I included this palette. This brand no longer exists, discontinued, but I don't think I'm also ever going to declutter this palette because the formula is just that good, and because the brand is discontinued, I just want to hold on to it for reasons. It's not a palette that I'm going to reach for on camera, but in sort of like makeup playtime, I can definitely see myself using this palette. Next we have the Oden's Eye and Batty Bean Planet Spirit palette. I recently did a video revisiting all the palettes I tried in 2023, and I stand by what I said in that video where I say that this palette is like very old me. This color story is very like how I used to do my makeup. It's not how I use my makeup anymore. I'm not going to declutter it because I want to keep it around as a trio. So collector's mentality, find me. This is a beautiful color story. The shimmers hit hard pan almost immediately, which is incredibly frustrating, but it's a beautiful color story. The mattes are absolutely stunning. It's just, it's not me anymore. It was me when I bought it. No, it wasn't even me when I bought it. It hasn't been me for a few years. Another palette that's really disappointing that I haven't used this year, and I was really surprised that I had to use this year, it's the ColourPop Little Ray of Sunshine palette. Another palette I can never see myself decluttering. I adore this palette. I think it was 2020. I don't know. It's been a long time since I was obsessed with this palette. But one spring, I could not stop talking about this palette. I could not stop using it. It's absolutely freaking beautiful. Yes, it's an all matte palette. Yes, it's not my vibe. But I absolutely love this marigold shade, this sunflower shade in the middle. I have considerable dip on it. And it's just, this is a phenomenal palette. I think I also use this shadow as a brow shade several times. Because it looks like there's like angled brush markings in it. So I'm going to leave this out, like a bright, shimmery summer morning, winter morning kind of palette with the sun blinding through, like you can kind of see over there. Perfect for that. I have like a stack of palettes that I want to use by the end of the year and a stack of palettes that I don't want to use by the end of the year. Next we have the Ace Beauté Ambiance palette. This is a phenomenal palette. This is a phenomenal formula. I have no idea what's happening with Ace Beauté, but this is absolutely freaking good. I think their whole website's like down to 50, 60, 70% off. So if you want this palette, definitely jump on it. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. This is the season. I'm not fully into like using palettes based on seasons. but this palette really feels like it should be based on fall, so I don't think about reaching for this palette. Again, I have work appropriate eyeshadows in this column, but overall, no for the rest of the year. This palette just needs to be decluttered and moved into like merged. Probably same with the Lion King palette, because I have no intention of using that palette again after using it just today and yesterday. It's the ColourPop Star Wars palette. I bought it as merch. It ranked near, if it wasn't the worst palette of 2023, but it was very near the bottom. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I think ColourPop can do way better, or it's, I don't know if they can do way better. It's a solid ColourPop palette. It's merch. It's cool packaging. I have no intention of ever probably using this palette again. I wasted my money. Let's go to the Itty Bitty Baby palette, which is the ColourPop Of Course palette, which is so sad because I rated it high in last year's ranking and I did not use it a single fluffing time this year. What is wrong with me? What is absolutely wrong with me? I want to put it in and I want to use it again pile because it's really cute and I just really like it. So I definitely want to use it again. I definitely want to use it by the end of the year. You should have also been an honorable mention to Huge Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I used it because I did figure out how many palettes I did not use this year, and this was one of them, so I decided to use it. Should I keep it out to use? Yeah, let's keep it out to use. Alright, Blend Money Surge palette. Oh my gosh, it's like, I have no intention of using this palette by the end of the year, but then I open it and I see the neons, and I'm like, why can't I do a neon look by the end of the year? Why can I not? Beautiful Summer Morning, Beautiful Lime Greens. We have a work appropriate column. Why don't I use this palette? Maybe I'll keep it out to use it at the end of the year. But the shimmers are here in garbage. Like, some of them are redeemable, but a lot of the shimmers in here are absolute trash. So that's why I really don't reach for this palette. Because if you're new to my channel, hello, I love shimmery one and done eyeshadow looks. I didn't use a single matte look in this look today, and I don't care because I enjoy it so much. And then lastly, which is disappointing, is the Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette, discontinued, RIP. I think they had to discontinue it because somebody was trying to copyright strike it, and then they were just like, we're just going to discontinue this and not deal with the legal fight. So that's a major bummer because I think this is one of the better color stories that Blend Bunny has ever done. The shimmers are phenomenal. The mattes, this makes me uncomfortable in a way that I want to get out of my comfort zone kind of way. Can I see myself using it by the end of the year? Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. So those are all of the palettes that I have not used this year. Short, sweet, to the point little video. There's really nothing wrong with any of these palettes. Absolutely nothing wrong with any of these palettes. I just haven't reached for them. I have zero excuses. That's just sort of the way the cookie has crumbled this year. So I want to thank y'all so much for watching today's video. Give it a like, give it a dislike, subscribe to my channel, do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm just happy you're here. As always, have joy and bye.